Hare Krishna. The question is, Yadi Prabhupada na hoito. So Srila Prabhupada's key contribution from my perspective is there was lots of fog, lots of transition in the philosophical revolution that was happening in India and around the world. And Prabhupada has brought in the next phase in that transition. For example, after Lord Sri Krishna left and Kali Yuga began, that is where the Vedic Dharma was going down. It started with Parishit Maharaj being cursed by a little boy. And the lack of patience, lack of trust in the society is dwindling. And that is where the, what can I say, the animal killing went to the next levels. That was the downfall of Vedic Dharma. People forgot how to do the sacrifices in a proper way, the original way. They lost all the mantras and the purity. And the primary way was that they kill the animals, they offer it to whoever, and then they eat. That was the sacrifices. And so that is where Lord Buddha appeared, and he gave the guidance: please do not kill the animals. And the Vedic Brahmanas said, well, it is written in Vedas, so we get to do it. And that is where Lord Buddha, he rejected the Vedas. And then the Buddhism became so prominent in India that everything was ahimsa, ahimsa, ahimsa. And nicely the Buddhism spread across Asia and brought in some level of ahimsa. That is awesome. But then again, if you look at it within Buddhism also now, as of today, it is not really prohibited to go for the animal killing. But that's the secondary point. The point is, that was a philosophical transition from Vedic Dharma to Buddhism. And now then Lord Buddha was an incarnation of the Lord. So the next stage that came in was the Sri Shankaracharya, incarnation of Lord Shiva himself, who tells Mother Parvati that I am going to go and give Asat Vidya, Asat philosophy. And that is how, around 1,000 years back, so Lord Gautam Buddha, he appeared, say, 2,000 more years back, and Lord Shankaracharya Sri Shankaracharya appeared 1,000 years back. And he to give the transition from, okay, stop killing the animals and accept Buddhism, to now, okay, so now that the ahimsa is in control, there is not much Vedic sacrifices happening, congratulations. But then the Vedas were kicked out of the society. And the primary purpose, so Buddha's primary purpose was to stop the killing. Sri Shankaracharya's primary purpose was to bring the Vedas back and re-establish them back in the society. But because people had become so Buddhist in nature and so nihilistic in nature, and they didn't want to believe in anything beyond what they know right now, other than what they would realize through the meditation. And that is where Sri Shankaracharya said that, he took in Vedas there are Bhedas and Abheda Vakyas, and Shankaracharya took the Abheda Vakyas, and he created the Sharirak Bhashya literature out of that. And because he is the husband of Maya Devi, if you read Sharirak Bhashya, you get convinced that there is nothing here, nothing is real, everything is imaginary. But that the purpose was to bring the Vedas back, and people had become Buddhist, so they had to be brought back from the Buddhistic thinking back into, okay, maybe you are God yourself. Why don't you come and establish enjoy the Vedas? And that is how he went around debating, established 4 mathas, and brought the Vedas back in the society. So that was the next stage in the spiritual transition. So that was amazing. But then it was still not complete, right? Because it was a stage in the transition to bring back the Vedas. But again, the Vedas' real meaning had to be established. So then the Vaishnava Parampara, Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya, they came in and they gave the philosophy that we are distinct, Vishishta Advaita and Advaita. And Madhvacharya, who is incarnation of Bhima, and Ramanujacharya, who is incarnation of Lakshmana himself. So they gave the philosophy of Vishishta Advaita and Advaita, where if you look at Madhvacharya, he is like we is like two. Two is like Lord is Lord, and I am not God. Shankaracharya said, I am God. Madhvacharya said, no way, right? But then there was this conflict in the spiritual circles of Vedic Dharma, where we are God or we are not God, and that fight still continues. But as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and he is incarnation of Radha and Krishna, and he gave the complete understanding of the philosophy, reconciled all the understandings that we had before, and that he gave the philosophy of Achinta Beda Beda. In the Achinta Veda Veda, we are simultaneously one and different from the Lord, where fundamentally in size we are so small that we cannot be God. Right? How small we are? 1/10,000 the size of the tip of the hair. So we cannot be God for sure, but we are like God. So our nature is like God, but we are not God. We belong to God. We are part and parcel of God's arrangement, and we can be godly by being connected with God. And that is the achintya. You cannot really imagine, so don't try too hard, but accept it that simultaneously we are one and the different. This beautiful philosophy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave 500 years back in the circles of Bengal, and he did preach around India, and as the parampara continued, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he propagated that with a few thousand mathas around India. He did propagate, but he did want the whole world to benefit, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, Nityananda Mahaprabhu's prophecy was that these words, this philosophy will spread all around the world for the people of Kali Yuga. Why? Because the Yuga Dharma is to remember name of the Lord. That is the easiest Yuga Dharma compared to sacrifices or temple worship or just meditation. For Kali Yuga, because the qualifications of people are really low, they need a very easy way to go back to Godhead. And that easy way is remembering and pronouncing God's name in the company of others loudly. And that is where this beautiful Yuga Dharma was propagated by Srila Prabhupada for the masses of the world, and it has been widely accepted, and we have more than 700-800 temples around the world. We are only 50-year-old movement, and we are growing faster than anything else. And people who accept it, the first thing is they give up all the bad habits. 2, they start living the family life in the way it is supposed to be lived, right? And we have Discover Yourself classes that go into the detail of how to live a proper life, and you are very welcome to join that in the Vedic Cultural Center in Seattle area, or any ISKCON temple. You should have that knowledge available. If you study Open Bhagavad Gita, you have it. So Srila Prabhupada's primary contribution was, traditionally the Hindu monks would not go around the world preaching. They wanted to maintain their purity. So Srila Prabhupada did some miraculous thing, which is he crossed the oceans, he went conquesting into the different parts of the world, he made 14 trips around the world, and he gave this philosophy to the people who were not of his language or culture or caste or religion. They were people of the earth. And all these people wholeheartedly accepted this pure spirituality. How and why? Because we are spirit soul in our original nature, and the philosophy is spiritual. Combination, people could accept this philosophy as it is and follow it in the original context. And that is the contribution of Srila Prabhupada. He is our Senapati Bhakta. He has shown us that idol worship and deity worship is different. Idol worship is you take a stone and do what you want. And that is prohibited in some Abrahamic religions, because that leads to the downfall in the society. But the deity worship is as per the scriptures, as per the original mantras, and it demands that you live a pure life, and then you follow certain lifestyle, and you carry some process, and you get the full benefit of connecting to the Lord. What would we do if we go back to the spiritual world? We are going to be around God. And what we're going to do? We're going to serve God. Well, Prabhupada gave us that facility right here in this life. While living and doing jobs and running our family life, we can actually live like we are in the spiritual world. Prabhupada used to say, my disciples are liberated. They just do not know about it. So that is the great contribution of Srila Prabhupada, and we are very, very thankful to Srila Prabhupada. We are also very thankful to Srila Prabhupada's disciples, like His Holiness Harivilas Maharaj, who brought that message to Seattle, spent 50 years of his life convincing us that this is the right way to do. So we are very, very thankful to His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj and Indradumna Swami Maharaj and so many Maharajas who have dedicated their life in completely spreading the words of Srila Prabhupada. And our prayers, humble prayers, are that we should be able to follow the spirituality in its original mood, and then we are able to give benefit to others also, because now we know it, we should be paying it forward by spreading it forward. So with that, we'd like to thank you for listening, and kindly spread this word so that everyone can benefit. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.